The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
I miss Thursday night football, man. I wanted the Eagles to play already. Just get this damn game over with. Get back to real football. You know, it's 15 I've seen now at inch up, depending on where you can get this game. 14.
I see 13 and a half now, too.
At no point, I was actually pressured into making an basically in-show bet last night. I had the pleasure, Harry, of sitting in for the Mighty E-Rock on the 4th and John show on NBC Sports, yes. And I made a statement that I didn't think would be met with any resistance, which I wouldn't imagine you would meet me with any resistance. So maybe I'm just used to working with you and you've spoiled me. But I said, nobody's really going to think the Eagles are nobody thinks the Eagles are going to lose this football game. It's outside the realm of any type of realistic thinking for me that the Eagles would lose to Luke Falk, where Sam Darnold still on Wednesday is yet to be cleared for contact.
He's not playing.
Thank you. So Luke Falk is out there.
Yeah.
So I was pressured into making an in-show live bet on the money line.
Oh, okay.
My $20 bet on the money line is going to pay me $2.76 profit.
Yeah, really going out on a limb there. Huh?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how high the money line is.
Well, who's against this? Who thinks this is a problem?
I think it was just like I don't think anybody really does think it's a problem so much as I just don't know why it would be met with any resistance at all. Forget the show last night, just in general.
Well,
there's nobody that honestly believes that this game is in peril, right?
Yeah, I'm not talking about covering a number, but I'm talking about just winning the game.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, any of those fans that are out there worried about this football game couldn't pick Luke Falk out of a lineup. Okay, so the only way that the Eagles lose this football game is if Carson Wentz turns the ball over 3 or 4 times.
Okay,
that's the only threat that you would have is if Wentz plays just horribly,
and that would be a big factor on it. At the same time, this Jets defense is not awful.
Yeah, but Mosley's probably not going to play.
C.J. Mosley's
he's probably their best player.
Absolutely,
right?
And he's out.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets defense has some talent on it. There's no doubt about it.
But it wouldn't shock you if they got if Carson Wentz finishes the game with a fumble and an interception, and they win 21-7, because it's like a Seattle-Arizona situation where Seattle was running out the clock last week in like the middle of the third quarter.
Right.
I can see a scenario like that where the Eagles are up convincingly, 3.5 scores, third quarter, 8 minutes left. It's a Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders, run that clock down. But I don't think that's a bad thing. My point.
No, I don't either.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if
people need to expect that.
If you're at this point where, and I think this is where you're going here, you just want to get this game out of the way, and let's get to the real football, which is at Minnesota, at Dallas, at Buffalo, Chicago, for that month of games leading into the bye week, where we can really test, what this Eagles team is, and hopefully start getting guys like Deshaun Jackson back and some of these cornerbacks back in the lineup, and you can, really assemble a football team. Right now, you're certain, you're trying to get by with 3 cornerbacks and, signing guys to the practice squad and elevating them from the practice squad. We never even heard of these guys. Next thing you know, they're in your secondary. You're just trying to get by here. I get that.
It's like a preseason. I feel like this is a preseason
But it's a preseason game you have to win. You can't lose it.
I know, and part of that is that whole loss to Detroit.
The result matters.
It matters, but I feel like if they had won that game against Detroit, we wouldn't even be adding pressure to this game. It would just be like a typical any given Sunday where you go into it not taking anybody lightly at all in the league.
Right.
And the Jets are going to fight. This is a Miami Dolphins situation where this team is at least going to fight.
I think the Jets are going to compete.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is not Washington or that team we saw Monday night.
Cincinnati.
Exactly right. Where they just
Cincinnati plays Arizona this week, by the way. That's 2 0-4 teams
now, that's
going at
in Arizona, correct?
No, I think it's in Cincinnati. That's in Cincinnati, yes.
What are the Cardinals on the money line right now?
I don't know. I don't have the money line up here.
I'm interested in that.
Okay.
I'm interested in Arizona coming off a tough one last week against the Seahawks, taking on a Dalton team that looked like they had no idea what they're doing. But we're going the same way. which is this Jets team has fight. This Jets team has some talent on defense. Yes, the Eagles put themselves in a position by losing to Detroit in the first place where there's some added pressure, but I do just want to get this in and out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch with as much interest as any other Eagles.
I want to get through it unscathed with more injuries.
No
okay,
injuries.
That's what I'm saying. Unscathed. I don't want any more injuries. So yeah, I get it. You know, plus it's one of those games where the opponent just does nothing for you. It's like playing the Tennessee Titans. You know, there's certain handful of teams in the NFL that when your team plays them, you're just like, I'm going to root for my guys, but this game doesn't interest me at all.
It's ridiculous.
This is one of these games.
Yeah. No.
Now, it would interest you more if Darnold was going to play and was fully healthy. I get that. I mean, Luke Falk.
They become a threat at that point. They become an upset. Listen, they're not a 14, 13 and a half point spread if Sam Darnold's playing quarterback.
No.
They're probably like a 7-point.
Well,
underdog.
I don't. He's not moving the line 7 points. I think it would still probably be double. I still think it would be probably a 10-point number.
I see. Here's why I disagree, because they wouldn't be as bad as they are. Like, the line is not only I'm saying Luke Falk. It's also how bad they've been playing under Luke Falk. So if Darnold had been playing, my point of it is not just this week, Harry. I'm saying in general. Like, if Darnold had not gone out and the Jets had Sam Darnold from week 1 to now, I think this is a tighter football game because the Jets are a better team, is my point.
Well, I mean, the Jets might have one win under their belts. They wouldn't have beaten New England with Darnold. They might have. They probably would have beaten maybe the Bills.
I think so.
With Darnold, because they lost a 16-point lead in that game. They did have Darnold in that game, and they lost it. But he wasn't healthy. No. I think he had mono at that time.
Right, he was
and
eating,
was probably not right.
Whatever he was eating.
Yeah, eating. Yeah, okay. But yeah, they probably would have one win. They'd be a 1-2 football team, and you'd probably still be looking at a 9.5, 10-point number.
Okay.
In relation to the Eagles.
Okay.
But they'd be more of a threat.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I still think that you're talking about a realistic threat of upset if they're healthy. Now, remember, they lost 2 wide receivers as well. They keep losing wide receivers every single year. They have to bring in Demaryius Thomas.
I know.
How bad things have gotten for this football team. So what's going to happen? I think one of 2 things. The Eagles are going to come out on fire. And I honestly think it's going to be one of 2 things. The Eagles are going to come out and probably put up, or on fire would mean put up 14 to 17 points in the first quarter.
Wow.
Like, truly take advantage.
That is on fire.
Absolutely.
That's like volcano hot.
Eruption. What was that movie with Tom Hanks? Joe Black? Meet Joe Black?
No, that wasn't Tom Hanks. That Meet Joe.
Joe versus the volcano.
Oh, Joe versus the volcano.
Right.
Meet Joe Black was Brad Pitt, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah, how about me with that poll? I don't know movies to save my life.
What is Meet
Joe
Joe Black?
I saw that. There was a hot chick in there. Was her last name Forlani? Josh?
Bill Parrish. Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins was in it. Who's the girl, though? It was something, I think her last name was Forlani. She was very attractive.
And she was the main
She was the
star?
squeeze.
She wasn't Brad Pitt's woman?
She was a love interest, yes.
Claire Forlani.
Claire Forlani. How about that poll?
Well, I'm trying to see what
fire.
else.
I don't know that she's done anything else.
She was one of the narrators of the documentary Unity.
Oh, great.
She was on the 2nd episode of Season 7 of Hawaii Five-0, introduced as Alicia Brown, a retired criminal profiler portrayed by Forlani.
What did she do wrong on the set of Meet Joe Black that plunged her into the abyss? Did she refuse sexual advances from Brad Pitt?
Okay. I don't know this, but
she was on a bunch of different TV shows.
We need Josh to track this down.
Yeah, TV shows. Are we going from big screen to some
I get it. It's
low-level TV show?
She did co-star with Jackie Chan in The Medallion.
Oh,
right?
boy.
Now,
listen,
listen,
that was a horrible movie.
Okay, hold on. We need you or Hunter or both
The
of you to
Medallion's
track
a garbage movie.
Okay,
hold on, Josh.
We need you guys to track this down.
He gets all excited when we start talking movies.
Forlani has appeared in a series of television commercials for Dewar's Scotch Whiskey.
Really?
Her performance has been hailed as one of the most frightening performances in alcohol ads.
That's crap whiskey, too,
According
by the way.
to Cracked, nobody likes, this is a very important magazine.
That's a crap blended scotch.
Nobody likes an angry drunk, and in this commercial for Dewar's, actress Claire Forlani proves to be exactly that in terrifying fashion.
Okay.
So we need to get the audio
Of one of the commercials?
of the Dewar's Scotch whiskey.
Now, did these air in the United States, or was this something that aired somewhere else? Because I never saw them.
Well, maybe you don't remember seeing them.
Oh, I think I would.
I don't know. What year was this?
I was. I was taken.
Yeah,
by
but maybe
Claire
this is
in the movie.
Maybe this is pre-movie. Maybe you had no idea about her pre-movie. That's
okay.
my point.
Yeah, I mean that movie. That's a long time ago. That was 1998.
Now we have a guest joining us in 5 minutes. This is not normal. We have bent over backwards.
Yeah, he's
for
a
this
pain
person.
in the ass right now.
We
to
normally
me.
don't bring a guest on in the opening segment of a radio show. That's like a radio faux pas.
Well, you're right, but you talk about faux pas. He requested, how about I come on at noon?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
And he's
what is this,
hosted
Mays,
shows.
Eytan, and Lombardo?
Unless you're going to be in studio, it doesn't work.
Right.
So we're not going to open up the show with you on the phone. Do you think he knows? Oh, so Ruin Today's telling us she was in The Departed. Oh, she was the blonde woman in The Departed? No.
Josh, do you remember?
Okay.
Oh, he's got the commercial.
First off, let's listen to the. Thank you, Josh.
Well, let's ask
Awesome
Josh
work.
if he remembers her in The Departed, because I do not.
Well, yes, the movie, like Vera Farmiga, right? She was the main woman in it. But I don't know, like, where this other. I'm looking at the cast right now. Kevin Corrigan, I'm looking at the cast right now.
There was a lot of people in that
she's
flick,
even
man.
mentioned in this as far
And
as.
Ruin might be a little off.
She looks like the woman in The Departed.
She does.
She does.
The-
Vera.
like the Vera girl.
I don't
Yeah,
see The
think he's got-
Departed on her IMDb.
Me and I.
Yeah.
I
He's
think,
got her confused
Yeah,
with Vera.
Ruin's got her confused. All right, let's listen to this. Great job, Josh, tracking this down. Thank you.
You've got to ask yourself, are you ready to take life seriously? Because serious, it's not always easy, but it comes with serious benefits.
All hail to the drinking man!
Now, I remember that
Do
tagline, all hail to the drinking man. But I don't know that I've seen these spots. Now, she's obviously English, and she's really putting the accent on there.
Correct, but I'm curious as to, like, what was she wearing, Josh? Can you describe her gear?
She's wearing a all black outfit, black blouse, doesn't show anything. Very like professional attire.
Oh,
the
really?
last airing of this commercial was in December of 2013.
6 years ago.
It's a long time,
Yeah.
man.
Her career's just gone in the toilet.
Apparently,
Why?
this was a big commercial on Nat Geo for a while.
I'm telling you, Nat Geo. I'm telling you, she must have refused some advances from Brad Pitt.
Now, Lombardo was
And she
has
was
tweeted
cast
this out.
into the abyss.
Catch me at 12:15. Already hijacking the opening segment.
Right. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Breaking down Saquon Barkley's recovery time. Is
I'm not wasn't going to ask him
No,
one
neither
question
one of
about
us.
Saquon
Seriously, neither one of us care about Saquon.
So he's going to come on here with an agenda to try to push one of his articles, probably that he's got on NJ.com right now.
You know, it's funny, Harry, you bring up that very same question because I just put it up on NJ.com.
That's exactly right.
Oh, my goodness, man. You know, you got to wake up a little earlier
Yeah.
in the morning, Lombo. You're going to try to sneak one by us. Unbelievable.
Well, plus I'm going to have to remind him of a pick, and
That's
you
right.
weren't even aware that he's on Fox 29
No.
locally here in Philadelphia on the weekends
I had to pitch another idea.
with the great Shredder, Tom
Yeah.
Shredenshek, who's the great producer down there, doing college football picks. And I believe, Josh, I sent you this, and you watched the video while you were recording the audio. Wasn't his record like 1-3 coming into this game?
Yeah, it was some sort of horrible record, and I'm like, why is this guy still picking if he's 1-3?
He was 1-3,
Yeah.
and then laid out a great a selection for last Saturday's action.
Not bad at
That
all.
caught my attention.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
not bad at all.
And then what?
Can
no,
we also mention the fact that he says it in a very authoritative, like he's like a real expert?
Well, he says everything in an
that's
authoritative
his way,
fashion. That's
right.
his deal.
Yeah.
And I like that, actually,
All
about
right,
him.
let's listen. Before he gets on, let's listen. Can we get a preview of the audio?
Of the pick?
I want the audience to be in on this before Lombo is.
Okay,
That's okay.
okay.
Right? All right, let's listen, Josh, if we can, to the audio of the pick, and then we'll just blast Lombo when he comes on. with it.
Besides USC and Washington, only one other game today involving two top 25 teams. That will be number 18 Virginia to face number 10 Notre Dame. It is upset pick time each week. Matt Lombardo from NJ.com and I will look for our upset pick of the week. Now, both of us coming off a loss from a week ago, but yours truly still with that one-game lead. So, Matt, what do you like this week?
Thanks, Shredder. 2 weeks ago, Temple pulled off the upset against Maryland, but then Buffalo came in and offered the blueprint on how to beat the Owls. Nobody knows Temple better than former head coach Jeff Collins, who brings his Georgia Tech team up to the link on Saturday. I think Georgia Tech gets it done, 31-28.
Wow. All right, Matt, I'm going to variation on the theme. Another former Temple coach, this time give me Matt Rule and his Baylor Bears. They will upset Iowa State, call it 24-20.
Well, Shredder almost nailed the score on that one.
And he was on, like Josh, on his pick, nailing Baylor and Matt Rule.
Right, but Baylor was getting points at home, and Shredder almost picked the exact score. The final was 23-21. He picked 24-20.
21?
24-20, I think, or 24-21.
All right, so we're going to bring this guy on and see what he has to say about himself. Because that was clearly a biased pick.
And exactly. That's a I love Penn State pick.
Right.
That's exactly what that was. Buffalo laid out the blueprint for beating Temple. And their former head coach took that blueprint and got his ass kicked 24-2. They didn't even score offensively.
Unbelievable. All right.
You ought to be ashamed.
So we're going to chat with Matt Lombardo. We anticipate Bob from Crossing Broad still, right?
Yes, at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Tony Bruno crossing the streams at 1:30. Tony Bruno, Miss Rodman. All right. So let's get the aforementioned on there.
Matt Lombardo, NJ.com, covers the Giants on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. I'll tell you what, you have to realize that you have such a great relationship with this show that we actually allowed you on in the first segment of the show.
You know what? Thanks for having me on, boys. And obviously the relationship goes back quite a while, and thrilled. Thanks for the flexibility.
Yeah, right. Now, you talk about abusing this relationship. Not only did you insist on starting a show, not even an hour. Like, we can start an hour, but the first segment of the first hour of a show, which you know as a radio host, is not for a guest. On top of that, you put a tweet out before you came on suggesting topics that weren't even cleared with us.
Well, I figured we wanted to talk about the biggest stories in the NFL, right? And I thought those were two of the bigger stories, with Saquon Barkley running without a limp less than 10 days after injuring his ankle. Dwayne Haskins looking like a fifth-round pick, let alone the 17th pick in the draft. I mean, if there's other stuff you guys want to talk about, I'm flexible and I'm happy to do it. Just like I was happy to come on Friday in studio and sit in, but you guys insisted on doing the hit today.
Well, we're in Parks Casino on Fridays. We're not in studio on Fridays.
That's okay. I could have made my way over to Parks and, put a couple shekels on the Vikings and, on the Eagles and parlayed it. We could have been a one-stop shop there.
I like the Vikings this week, too. It's funny you bring that up. But, yes, you were there last week, obviously. Redskins-Giants, an awful football game. A nice win for the Giants and their young quarterback. But you brought up Haskins. Haskins was thrust into that game by the head coach, I think, to just sort of stick it to the owner and to the general manager, who obviously want this kid to play before he is ready. Gruden knew he wasn't ready, but Gruden said, all right, I'm going to put him in there, and I'm going to prove to you that he's not ready. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Harry, I think you're spot on there. And I think that what we saw on Sunday wasn't just Jay Gruden sticking it to Daniel Snyder and Bruce Allen for Dwayne Haskins not being ready, but also for the fact that I'm not convinced that Dwayne Haskins was Jay Gruden's pick. Obviously, we can think back to April and all the talk about would Daniel Jones have been there if the Giants took Ed Oliver or Josh Allen at number 6, and I still think he would have. And I think it's clear as day now more than ever, especially when you see moving forward that Gruden's considering going to Colt McCoy this week rather than sticking with Haskins, that this was Daniel Snyder's pick. And all the talk leading up to Sunday was that Gruden could be out of a job and that he could be fired if the Redskins lost to the Giants. And I think that was just him sending a message, A, the kid's not ready, and B, I don't think it was my pick. It wasn't my pick to take Haskins. And I think it was Daniel Snyder's. I think it was Allen's. And they have a real mess on their hands right now because it's different. You can't go back to Case Keenum, right, after you bench him in the middle of the game like that, but you throw the rookie out there on the road in a division game, and now you contemplate going to Colt McCoy. It's just and I think that we're starting to see just how far behind the Redskins are from the rest of this division.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's almost like forget what happens on the field. Jay Gruden's going to get fired if he goes to Colt McCoy before he goes to Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, I think there's something to that as well. I still think he's going to try to go to McCoy because he doesn't think that the kid's ready, and I think that he's trying to prove that to ownership.
Think about this real quick, Lombo. If he comes out with Colt McCoy and they find a way to win a football game, then he goes back to Daniel Snyder and sticks it to him and says, you do whatever the hell you want, you fire me or not, but I won with my guy. Your kid either isn't ready or isn't good enough. And again, that doesn't mean Jay Gruden is right. It just means that this belligerent, crazy back and forth, he finds an angle.
Well, I think it's one of the most dysfunctional organizations in sports and has been for a long time, right? So this is just another symptom of that dysfunction. And again, I don't think that Jay Gruden is without blame here because obviously the pecking order at the quarterback position this summer was Keenum, McCoy, and then Haskins. And again, I'm not at training camp every day. I'm not at Redskin Park down in Richmond. But my sense is that if he's not ready 4 weeks into the regular season, and you see what Daniel Jones was able to do by contrast in week 3, as much as you want to say that that's not his guy, and as much as you want to say he's not ready, part of it falls on the head coach to get him prepared to the point where you don't have to dumb down the playbook in the second half to the point where Jabril Peppers knows what route is coming based on the set that the offense lines up in. So I think part of this is Snyder, forcing his guy down Gruden's throat, but Gruden has some culpability for not having him more prepared to play even a quarter of the way into the season.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Matt Lombardo, NJ.com, joining us on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. All right, let's get to your big story, which is Saquon Barkley, had the high ankle sprain and was looking to be out here at least a couple of weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks or so, and now you're saying he's already running on that ankle. What has this done to the timeline?
Yeah, Harry, I think it shatters the initial timeline, right? The initial prediction was he'd be out 4 to 8 weeks, but today, 10 days after the injury, he's jogging, jumping, and running, not quite at full speed, but without a limp. And he wasn't taking part in any individual drills, but the fact that he's out of the walking boot, or at least on Sunday, which is 7 days out of the injury, and today running, jogging, and jumping, that's pretty encouraging for the Giants. And this isn't the first time he had the same injury. He had a high ankle sprain in his right ankle at Penn State during his freshman year. He only missed 2 games that season. So that goes to show you the kind of Herculean timeline that he has coming back from these things. I think somebody's still optimistic. I don't think you bring him back this soon, especially against a physical Vikings team. But if he's 100% leading into that Thursday night game next week, I think there's a chance he returns. But the Giants should be smart about this because we've seen time and time again, running backs or other players suffer high ankle sprains, and they aggravate them because they came back too soon or they rush back to the field. To me, if I'm the Giants, it's great that he's back. It's great that he's, making progress. I'd hold him off until week 7 against the Arizona Cardinals. Give him the full 4 weeks out so that when he's ready to go. Hopefully you've mitigated any risk of aggravating the injury.
All right, that's big news. All right, Lombo, I caught you on television last week. By accident.
Where'd you do that from, a barn?
He was outside somewhere. It might have been out in his backyard or something, doing a hit with Tom Shredshaw.
How many horses do you own, Lombo?
2.5. No, I'm
2.5. What's the half, a donkey or?
No, that was the pick he
mule,
gave. It was the donkey. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Harry's got something for you.
Laid an egg on that one. Laid an egg on that one.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No. We got more.
You're not getting out of here unscathed.
I think I saw your record, and Josh, our producer, can corroborate this, was 1-3, I believe, coming into this on these upset picks. And then we heard this.
Faced number 10, Notre Dame. It is upset pick time each week. Matt Lombardo from NJ.com and I will look for our upset pick of the week. Now, both of us coming off a loss from a week ago, but yours truly still with that 1-game lead. So, Matt, what do you like this week?
Thanks, Shredder. 2 weeks ago, Temple pulled off the upset against Maryland, but then Buffalo came in and offered the blueprint on how to beat the Owls. Nobody knows Temple better than former head coach Jeff Collins, who brings his Georgia Tech team up to the link on Saturday. I think Georgia Tech gets it done, 31-28.
That's
All right, Matt, I'm going to create you.
Wow, that is a Penn State bias right there.
James Franklin speaking through you. You know,
Exactly.
It's like you just got hypnotized speaking in tongues, and it was James Franklin's language making that pick.
You mean the number 12 Nittany Lions who are playing like a top 10 team right now?
Who's you guys pick, Rutgers?
Yeah.
But they blew out Maryland on the road 59-0. But, yeah, I took it on the chin last week with Temple, still mauling the lines this week. Harry, I might have to consult you for this week's picks based on that terrible performance last Saturday. Kind of overvalued.
Oh,
Jeff
man,
Collins,
I couldn't resist.
Jeff
When I
Collins
saw
is
that,
gone.
I go online, I got the audio, I immediately sent it to Josh. I'm like, we got to play this for Lombo when he comes on.
Well-deserved there. And, man, Georgia Tech is a lot further away than I realized.
I'll
Holy
tell you
fuck.
what.
Then you realize Jeff Collins is coaching the team. What? Come on.
All right, Lombo, we look forward to it next week. Obviously, he's brought to you by Gentleman Golfers Supply Company. Represent your love of the gentleman's game on or off the course with Gentleman Golfers Supply Company's extensive line of streetwear and golf apparel. Visit ggsupplyco.com. All right, Lombo, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, buddy.
You got it, guys. Hey, while you're at Parks, take out a second mortgage on the house and bet the Eagles. Sam Darnold practicing today, but the Jets players aren't allowed to touch him because they're afraid that his spleen will rupture during practice.
Oh, my
I
God.
hope he plays Sunday. I think the Eagles blow him out.
All right, well, real quick then, how about this? 70% of the money on the public money is on the under. 44.5 for the Vikings-Giants game.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's a propensity for both teams to put up big numbers, mainly the Vikings because of how bad the Giants' D is. Do you like that? 70% of the public on the over, over 44.5.
Over. I'd probably take the under there. I think that you're going to see a lot of Dalvin Cook, and that's going to slow this game down.
All right, Matt Lombardo, there he is on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. Have your renewals been increasing over the years? When was the last time you actually reviewed your commercial insurance coverages? You got to call managing partner Kevin McAdams at Lighthouse right now. 800-691-1686 or online at lighthouseins.biz.
All right, coming up. Looks like Bob from Crossing Broad is a no-go. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, this is 2 weeks in a row that he's blown us off.
Well, he said he can do it tomorrow. Everybody's pushing us back.
Yeah, everybody's moving a day. What's going on?